All right, ladies, buckle up. It's showtime.
You gave me your loving, and I fell from grace.
And boom. What's up, everybody? Copperhead Road Podcast live on Rumble, live on YouTube, live on a ton of streaming platforms for your entertainment pleasure. I'm your boy Footer. That's my man Rex. Got Jen behind the glass. And we're rocking and rolling. Hello, sir.
Beautiful day up on the hill. It's a little cloudy, but the temperature is going to be warm and sunny on this weekend. So we're looking forward to that.
Well, it's nice to hear. It's nice to hear.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find us on YouTube Shorts here, but I can't find this.
Oh, okay. All right.
No,
We wait with bated breath.
Yeah, no, I like to find this.
I understand. So I think probably the bulk of the show, we're probably going to go through. I try to condense down the Steven Crowder, Nick Fuentes debate as much as I can to the points and counterpoints, because there's a lot of banter in between and a bunch of what they call nonsense. So we're going to hopefully look at that and kind of give you a I think sort of an honest, sort of impartial take. I
think you did a good job. I think you did a good job with the condensing. I don't really feel you cut it anywhere that would, not give somebody their time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think they both made their points. I think backing up their points with data, I think Steve was probably a little bit better, but I think appealing to the broader audience, Nick probably took that.
Again, Nick, you know what Nick did for me in this episode? For him, he personified he couldn't have, the way I describe him and the way I feel about him.
Yeah,
he jumped right into that box perfectly. He was likable. I had no major issues with him. I didn't dislike him in any way, but he had zero prescriptions. Zero.
Well, and I think we've stayed fairly consistent on that too, because he's very good at reading the field, knowing what's going on, seeing the problems, but he does seem to fall sort of simplistically short on his solutions to things. And we'll get more into that in a little bit. I did, however, want to start off kind of quickly because I think you're going to enjoy this. I've sort of told you that I don't really watch the Candace shows anymore. Jen watches them every morning and then kind of gives me the Reader's Digest version of what happened. Because even when I come in and I catch 15-20 minutes of it, there's very little substance there anymore. Even by Candace's standards, the substance are getting farther and farther out there. So she had one of her friends come on, and forgive me, I forget the name or whatever, but they're having sort of a back and forth interview as she does. And this woman who knew Charlie, I think tangentially, I don't think she actually ever met him or whatever, had an interesting event. We'll call it an event happened to her. And this is the kind of stuff that you're getting from Candace now, and it borders on just absolutely embarrassing. So I'm very curious to know what you think about it, Footer.
Yeah, I'll definitely, I'm interested in hearing that for sure. I haven't watched. I told you I have not watched her. In these last couple of days anyway. Like I'm in like a little bit of a funk. Everything's great, like in regards to like quote unquote life. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm just any like, how do we put it, like any of the things that kind of like overwhelmed me or stressed me out, which are very valid to do. Like the shit that'll put you in therapy type shit, like um those things I've been allowing to like bother me lately. You know what I mean? And it's very and what happens is anybody that knows and deals with like mental health stuff, like when that happens, it's very frustrating. You know what I'm saying? And then so it compiles from the issue or the issues, and then you're not dealing with it the way you would like to be or feeling, okay. So that's even more frustrating and upsetting.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this, but I'm not a psychiatrist. I've never actually passed the final exams or whatever. But my 2 cents, which I don't even know how you do that anymore without pennies, but these episodes seem to manifest when you're on either the tail end or the cusp of something great happening to you. Because again, we're not going to get into it, but there's a lot of kind of good things happening to you now. So it almost seems like it's your mind's way of trying to convince you that you don't deserve it, and also sabotage the good things that you have going on. Because it does seem to sort of, again, these unfortunate episodes that you tend to, not tend, but you have on occasion, usually orbit around something that's actually good and positive in your life. So I just wonder if perhaps that has something to do with it.
It very well, I mean, if I start thinking about it, possibly, like at least, in regards to right now, sure, that very well it plays out that way for sure. With that being said, I can promise you, which I guess entails where the mental health part comes in, it's not conscious. You know what I'm saying? It's quite the opposite. Like it's frustrating. Like I'm like, what the fuck? Like what stop? Like, you know what I mean? Like there's 2 weeks ago, the way you felt or whatever, you were great. You know what I'm saying? Yet shit's probably better than 2 weeks ago. And yet, I can't, for whatever reason, again, when you deal with mental health stuff, it sucks, so, I brought that up meaning, just, so I've been pretty, I don't want to say, like, I guess introverted the last couple of days. I've just, and again, I think when we do have some days off for the show, that doesn't help, you know what I'm saying? But it shouldn't matter, quite honestly, you know what I mean? But, so, and then I what I do is I go into these, and again, anybody that deals with mental health issues, they know that you tend to go into these like shells, you know what I mean? And you like isolate yourself, not doing anything wrong. You're just, you kind of just go into like this shell and you're just like, all right, I'm just going to fucking exist right now, and I do apologize to
the psychological term is called turtleification.
No, yes, it is. Yes, it's called. I use the shell method. Yeah, but again, you guys are weird. What'd you say?
I said you still get them pregnant, which is weird.
Yeah, right. That and the rhythm method has always failed me. It's very odd.
It seems to me it's the same mechanism as survivor's guilt. Like you absorb a guilt because you don't feel you deserve the positive things going on. And again, that's just I'm going to go 3 cents because of inflation. That's kind of how I see it. But the good news is you're no fucking close as crazy as the woman that Candace had on her show. So for you. So anyway, here's Candace talking to one of her friends about a situation, an event, an occurrence that she had kind of with Charlie Kirk.
And he comes to me, and I don't know, you tell me if that's like Charlie. He hugs me for some reason, smiles, and he's like, you're doing just fine. I never knew him personally, but he was smiling and he hugged me and he's like, you're doing just fine. So I remember like just asking like, who killed you? So I did. I was like, who killed you? Like, that would be easier to tell me, like, who killed you? And you know what he said? He said the same people that killed JFK.
So I mean, you could be that crazy.
First of all, I was listening to half of her story, and I'm going, oh, this is nice. You know what I mean? She met Charlie. Charlie's just you know, again, like someone with a little bit of celebrity status, and he's that guy. So that made perfect sense to me. Oh, hey, you're doing great. Hugs her. Met her or whatever. And then who killed you? I'm like, whoa, wait, what?
Yeah,
like she had me hook, line, and sinker, and then all of a sudden she's like, she punched the crazy card on me.
Yeah, apparently this was a dream that she had a couple of weeks ago. She number one, I've also heard that Charlie wasn't much of a hugger. That's not a racial epithet either. I just want to let you know. So that
huggers just stole my truck.
Oh my Lord. Check your wallet. So again, it is sort of a touching, I guess. But the thing is like, okay, let's just grant her that this actually happened. And she got the opportunity, the one in a lifetime opportunity to get the answer to the question that, I don't know, 9% of the country don't have an answer to, which is who killed Charlie Kirk. She asked that question. How lucky?
Yeah, and you know what? Charlie Kirk's, I'm sorry, by this story, Charlie Kirk's a dick. like stop with your vagaries.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, you could nail him down on a person or a group of people.
Yeah.
It's just outrageous. And not only that, but it can't be the exact same people that killed JFK, because guess what? They're dead.
Yeah, so, no, and let me give you one better. What has been the biggest conspiracy and taken 70 years to figure out? JFK, the JFK stuff. Oh, great. This is helpful.
Yeah. So again, if you're feeling a little off, you're feeling a little Lulu, just have some confidence in the fact that you're not as fucking crazy as this fucking bitch.
Oh, I very well may be, but my point is, I felt very under control, and
let me ask you,
I'm not terrible right now, but
if you had this opportunity, would you ask Charlie the same thing? Or do you feel confident you feel confident that you probably already know that, so you may move on to something else? Because now,
you got to probably ask it.
I was going to say, now, Charlie's got some ins now. He's up there. He's talking to people. He's a charming guy. So he's probably information that you may want to know.
Nope. I have no. I have a lot more faith and evidence in Jesus Christ than I do in who killed Charlie Kirk. I can promise you that.
Right. My point is that this is where I would ask Charlie Kirk who killed JFK.
That's brilliant. Two birds with one stone.
Yeah. I'd be like, well, I kind of know who killed Charlie. I don't need to know that answer, but maybe you can just let me know who killed JFK, because I'm sure you're talking to Jack up there. And how the hell did that ever work anyway? The guy's name's John. How did Jack become short for John when they're the same fucking letters?
Good night, everybody.
You think it would call them like
let you guys ponder that.
Yeah, because those are the hot button topics of today's kids. That and digital circuit.
Yeah, ponder that, and we'll catch you next episode. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good night.
So again, I saw that, and I actually had to watch it a couple of times, because I thought like maybe it was a fucking Crowder fucking AI something or whatever. Because again, if you're gonna have these conversations, that's fine with your friends. I understand, but like to record it then send it out, it just seems even below Candace's standards for somewhat factual reporting. So. Anyway, I thought that was cool.
And speaking of AI real quick, I'm at a point with it, meaning the controversies back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not I think I could debate anybody, because I don't have to rely on it, or I don't need it. It's very easy for me I can stick up for it. Like, I don't have to be a gatekeeper. So I'll put that out there. If anybody ever wanted to debate, I'm saying AI isn't a problem in music unless you let it be.
It's a tool.
And that's
However, I will
without-
say AI has ruined YouTube. Absolutely ruined it because and there was a guy, I forget who I was watching, but there was a guy that came on and he was actually pointing it out. But there was a couple of things that people used to go to YouTube for. You know, one would obviously be, you know, goofy kind of cat video sort of stuff. Another would be like you know, historical kind of things or videos of events that you couldn't find elsewhere. Then obviously the third one was education. You'd be, again, YouTube University. We all kind of did that, you know, of fuck, I got to replace this oil filter on a 40-year-old truck and I have no idea, whatever. I'll just go to YouTube, pumping it, and then you got some guy sitting underneath a fucking tree in Tucson, Arizona. You know,
you still can get that.
You can. You're absolutely right. However, if you the problem with it now is that, you know, most of these videos, like again, will you use my example? Well, I need to change an oil filter in 1989 Chevy Blazer, whatever, and you put it in. Now you'll get 6 or 7 episodes that come up or whatever. Most of them now have some production value, so you get kind of an intro of, you know, Charlie's fucking garage and him fucking shooting cans and his dog chasing a duck or whatever. For some reason, all of these need a huge production thing, and you have to watch through that, and then you get a couple of ads, and then you get to you know, the actual thing, and you're like, fuck, this is an 86, it's different. So then you just wasted 7 minutes. My point is, now all you have to do is go to Google Gemini and type it in, and what they do is they give you the exact information for what you need immediately. You don't have to go through, you know, a bunch of different videos that might be a little bit different. And that's even what this guy was pointing out, is he said that the educational portions of YouTube videos, the people who are producing them, have seen a dramatic drop off, especially since the beginning of the year, because people don't find it as efficient to go to YouTube to learn something as it is to go to an AI chatbot or whatever and get the actual information read out to you. So it's much more efficient that way. And another way that it's ruined it, and I even did it because the video that we're going to go over with Steve and Nick is I compressed everything down to sort of the meat and potatoes of it. And I'm like, hey, you know what? I'll let Gemini generate the thumbnail for it, whatever. And if you look at the thumbnail, and we don't have to bring it up, but
You can bring it up.
Yeah, can you bring up the, I think it's in the file assets for today's show.
You know, you can even or just go to YouTube and bring up our channel. It should be there. You know?
Yeah, but the problem is,
it's easier for you.
If you click on the show, it doesn't show you the thumbnail. It goes right into the show or the beginning of it. You know what I mean?
We don't want that.
Check desktop. See if it's in desktop. Anyway, so you know, it generates a very clear, even though I had given it the you know, the
prompt.
The prompt to use a screenshot. I grabbed a screenshot from their thing and I put it up, and, you know, it puts question marks all over it, and it says, you know, the information that you don't want to know. Steven brings the facts. Nick has questions, but like the way that they generated Nick's face is they made him specifically ugly. And I know that they did that. Go to downloads, try that. So like it definitely recognizes Nick, because it even puts it into the you know, into the thumbnail or whatever. But that's what you get, like when you go onto YouTube. It's a bunch of AI generated videos. And again, if you have specific channels that you follow, that's relatively stays the same. You know what I mean? That's not going to change a whole lot. But what it you don't have to worry about it.
No big deal.
But if you're looking for like general information and you don't have a specific channel for it, you get a bunch of just, I hate to use it, but AI slop of people, you know, saying something about it. Or even if you're okay. So there's another thing that I wanted to bring up was,
well, before you go past that real quick,
yeah,
you're gonna get mad at me. You're definitely gonna get mad. I think I like it.
You like what?
Um,
Really?
I like when I'm, and again, I admit I'm a sucker for packaging. So I do, like I told you, I definitely bought that Monster Energy drink, that whatever melon berry, because it was like this cool looking like character like on the thing, so my point is, for some reason, like, it is so precise, because I do believe that it does tap into something in my brain or in people's brains that make you like want to look at it. Does that sound dumb?
No, it doesn't. But my point is that, again, if you're if you're looking for something informationally, or if you want to, like, say like, for example, one of the things that I had brought up and I put in assets was a video of a news conference that Libby Shaaf had in 2020 regarding a racist incident that she had. I think I'm going to say Sacramento. I don't remember exactly what mayor she is. But I wanted just the news article, or the news feed of it, because she did a press conference. I wanted just the press conference of Libby Shaaf talking about this particular thing. And you have to scroll a bunch of stuff before you even get to it. So, like, and Google's the same way. Like, it used to be very intuitive. You'd put in, I want the news conference of Libby Shaaf in 2020 talking about this. And Google used to be very smart about it. And so YouTube, they'd be like, I know he wants this. So it would be right on top, whatever it was. You know what I mean?
Wait, do you think that they're force feeding you their agenda first? You mean?
No, what I think that they're
Okay.
doing now is I think that they find that their ad revenue, which is you scrolling past a bunch of different ads and things or whatever, is actually higher if you're searching a lot longer than just finding a video that you want, bing, bam, and you're gone. So now they make you scroll through a bunch of different stuff that may or may not interest you. And you're also going by the side ads and things or whatever, because you're spending more time searching for the things that used to be very, very on top and relevant, because they used to have to actually fight for your eyes, because you had Ask Jeeves and Yahoo or whatever. You had other search engines, but now basically that Google and YouTube have become the Goliaths of the industry. Now they don't have to do that. Now they can actually push you towards other different videos and ads and actually gain their revenue that way, because they've already got the monopoly on the industry.
Yeah. No, yeah, that makes sense to me. Yeah, I can see that. But I'm not, again, I don't hate, I just think that there's so many amazing things that AI can do, and that I do fall prey to as the consumer, or whatever you want to call it. But for sure, like anything else, I mean, it could be used for bad,
Yeah, I mean, again, a lot of the prep and stuff that we do, we certainly use it. But it's one of those things that, again, my point is if you're in Gemini or Copilot, whatever the heck you're using, and you need specific information, it's great.
The key is that, like I do for everything I ask it, information wise, I said, and please provide the sources. And there's a little paperclip underneath the thing, and then you click on that, and at least you see
information. You're up 100% right. It can definitely give you the information. However, areas, like I said, like in YouTube, where you want something specific, it muddies the water of the hardcore. And again, entertainment wise, if we just want to go on YouTube and just be like, I want to see happy cats, you know what I mean? Again, you're going to get a bunch of different stuff. You're not really being very specific. It does have a value, but anyway, so I don't know, I lost my train of thought, but
oh no, we were just talking about the AI stuff, and then we were gonna go into a few different things. I think we were just kind of milking the first half a little bit before we get crazy, even though I think we got a little more in depth than we usually do early. But another thing about like videos and things that I've watched is that with the AI, you have to definitely.
The AI, like that's such an oldie man foots thing to say. You know what I've noticed with the AI? Like it's
I don't know if I said it that way or it was just my stammer, but either way, that's fine.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I can see it either way, and I may have said it. I can't. I don't recall, but I think my stammering I can use as an easy excuse because it's legit. But with AI, I think that the biggest thing is that if you don't do a little homework, you can definitely be duped. But I do like the fact that you can prompt it to kind of okay. So if I want to get a contrasting narrative, okay, like let's say for example, let's use the Muslims, right? If I can get a perspective from, let's say, a Muslim apologetics argument to address via AI to hone skills or to get an idea of where they're coming, and then seeing the resources that they're actually pulling that from. You know what I mean? Things like that are very important.
For sure. Yeah.
And I like that.
The counter narrative is always good to study for sure, because if you know what your say opponent in a debate is going to ask, you can have the information ready and you know where they came from. Absolutely. It's a research tool. There's never been a better one. Absolutely.
And then quickly, and again, just to waste a little more time to see if we can get some people flowing in, which usually happens around the 40-minute mark. So I think that you had said, I had told you that I was excited for Andrew Wilson and David Wood debate,
Yeah,
and and you had said you like, again, man, I don't even know if I didn't make a big deal over it, right? No, I didn't. And then, but
you were a little bit betwixt because you like both people so much, is how I remember you caging it.
Right. And then from a faith perspective, it really was frustrating because again, I'm so strong in my faith, and I guess it does fall into, again, I'm non-denominational for the most part. I'd say, but I guess it would lean more with a Protestant view. But with that being said, when I hear the Eastern Orthodox view, I understand it as well. You know what I'm saying? And now don't misunderstand. The good thing, thankfully, there's nothing that there's no interfaith dialogue and or arguments that I guess the greatest hyperbole would be that you're outside of being a Christian if you don't believe in a specific sect. You know what I mean? That now believe me, you have hardcore, like anything else. You have hardcore, or Eastern Orthodox that believe that if you don't follow their true church, that you aren't a Christian. You know what I'm saying? There are also people. Say again?
I didn't say anything.
Oh, and then there are also people that with the people that I actually like, and that listen, I have a lot of people that I enjoy that are Eastern Orthodox Christians, but they do believe that they're the one true church. Okay, so anyway, I'm just setting up that background because the debate was David Wood, who was a scholar, and Dr. David Wood, he's an academic, and he's what you would call like more of a non-denominational, kind of what I would line up with as far as faith was. And then you have like Avery, which is God Logic, right? He's in that camp. And then you have like the Ortho Bros, which is Orthodox Bros, right? Like Jay Dyer and our boy Andrew Wilson. I like Jay Dyer a lot. I like Andrew Wilson a lot. You know what I mean? It was difficult when basically what happened was Jay Dyer came out and called Avery God Logic, who is right now the biggest Christian apologist in the space. Okay. Yeah. And the one that's on fire the most, growing the most. And his arch rival would be this Muslim dude called Libiano, which is the Orthodox Muslim, he's called. He had posted something about Avery. First of all, he slandered Avery's wife. He doxed Avery's wife, called her a whore, all these different things. Okay, so then that's very much in context. So he says all these bad things about, made a video about Avery's wife, all these terrible fucking things. And then, so he writes about all these things about Avery. And then he says, he calls Avery a grifter. And the reason why he doesn't say what denomination he is because he likes to keep that window open so he can grift to as much people, as many people as possible. So he writes all this on X, and then Jay Dyer, and you have to remember, these guys have really big followings. You know what I mean? Jay Dyer just writes bingo. Right? Now, again, the whole controversy is that, so David Wood sees this and chimes in and basically is saying because Jay Dyer said bingo and affirmed what this piece of shit Muslim was saying about Avery, that he was basically enabling and almost what's the word I'm looking for, Rex? Like
affirming.
Yeah, right. Affirming all of the things that this guy was saying and these Muslims. So David Wood had went out and started, and chimed in with it, and then it became a back and forth.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that was and believe it or not, I don't know if our fans are big in that space, but I'm sure they're not. But it's a very, very big space, number one, and it's very tribal. You know what I mean? And it, most of the time Christianity is a nice umbrella, because the truth of the matter is, if you believe in the death and the resurrection of Christ, if you believe in the Trinity, and there's certain things that, you believe that Jesus Christ is God, you're a Christian. You may have different rituals and different things that, like for example, Orthodox are very big with icons, like the Mother Mary and the statue, and Protestants think that that's idol worship. So there's some differences, you know what I mean? So David Wood was pushing back, and then obviously it became this whole like ortho bro versus Protestant type of deal. So David Wood had Andrew Wilson on, and it was a terrible. If you're not into debates or into any of what's going on, it wouldn't be terrible because it was not a good debate. It was a lot of muddying of the waters, as you said,
Yeah.
But I wanted to know, do you think Jay Dyer was wrong for doing that?
No, because it all depends on. I think he probably would have done himself a little bit of a favor if he would have been a little bit more contextual and a little bit more precise on his words, because that Muslim, whoever it was, said a lot, and if his bingo was just Avery's a grifter, then he probably would have done himself a favor to just sort of pare it down to that. If he's agreeing with everything else and saying everything's, bingo on everything else, then
and I don't think he was.
I don't think he was either, but I think
Right.
he didn't do himself a whole lot of good service there by just sort of agreeing, carte blanche across the whole thing. So
That's exactly what I think, dude. Yep.
yeah, and the reason that people like Avery and David Wood and Chris and all these other people can sort of have a good faith debate about it is exactly what you had brought up, is that they, at the end of the day, their core beliefs are the same. It's and to sort of branch it out into the reasons that we can't have debates on other things anymore, especially intra-country, is that we don't have that common core of beliefs after the debate's done. If like Avery and like Sam Shamoon, I don't know if they're friends or enemies or they don't believe each other, whatever.
Actually, he's the only one. No, Avery's the only one that's friendly with Sam still. Everybody else, they don't.
I picked two different, but so if you have two people that are on opposite sides of the Christian spectrum, they could have a heated, debated argument, and at the end of the day, you're like, yeah, you know what? We still believe in Jesus. Let's go have a beer. They can do that. They're not going to go home, with seething anger because, as say, like, if you have a Muslim and a Christian, they're at the end of the day, they're probably not going to shake hands and high five because they don't have any real core beliefs. So it is at least a good thing. And the Republicans are right. can do the same thing too, because at the end of the day, typically they have the same sort of core beliefs. You know, and that's even when we get into Steve and Nick. Most of them agree. Both of them sort of agree on identifying the problems that they have, so at least they can sort of find common ground in that area.
Yeah. Well, that was really the only reason why I wanted to bring it up. You know, I wanted to kind of wait for some more people to get in chat, and then also, I was just curious to know, because I kind of feel the same exact way. You know, it's like I just wanted, like, I don't think Jay Dyer by any way was, affirming everything the Orthodox Muslim was saying. You know what I mean? With that being said, I think he could have went about it a different way. And now he just wants a bunch of like interfaith debating. You know what I'm saying? And he's calling out everybody on it. And I don't necessarily. What David Wood did last night was great. David Wood had on two of these Orthodox, Nick Fearless Truth, and then another guy who's an Ortho bro on last night, and they didn't have a debate. All they did was, there was somebody that made a video a while back that said like 10 reasons. It was a Protestant and said 10 reasons why you shouldn't become an Eastern Orthodox. And they went over that video. And David Wood kept saying, like, all I need to do, like, I can't debate anybody on Eastern Orthodox because I don't know that. I don't know what you believe. So I can't. So David had them on and they were answering these guys' questions. So David now has a really good idea of what Eastern Orthodox believe, and as opposed to what a Protestant believes. You know what I'm saying? So
I really felt that the scenarios that Andrew Wilson brought up were very weak, which again is not like him, because I think that he sort of accepted a false premise on what he was trying to say that he thought was okay. You know, because I think, you know, again, Andrew Wilson is probably one of the best debaters out there. And I think he probably bought into a debate that was a very weak one, when really all he was trying to affirm was, if a Muslim guy says something that's true, I can go ahead and say it. But then he got tied into affirming his lies and things or whatever, and like added a whole bunch of ands to the debate that once he got to it, it was like, oh, I can make up a couple of scenarios, but none of them are really real world kind of scenarios. And
which is enough to win a debate. You know what I'm saying? Which is the difference. Like, Andrew realized that, like, honestly, the thing is, like, he has to understand where David Wood was coming from. I know he does.
Yeah.
And with that being said, Andrew Wilson said in the debate, he's like, well, listen, when one of your bros get up at the bar, you get up. And they're both Eastern Orthodox, him and Jay Dyer, and they both have a heavy online presence. You know, they're friends. Yeah. So, he made that kind of clear as well, that he was sticking up for his boy. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I just thought that I was just curious to know where you stood on the actual issue, not even the debate. We both agree that the debate really didn't bring much to the table.
Yeah, and I would probably lean, in the actual sort of, debate, which again, David Wood didn't really press back. Find another way is not really a good defense of your position, I don't think.
From a debate standpoint, I agree.
Right. I mean, yeah, obviously on the ground, that is probably your best mode.
You know what, Andrew? Real quick correction. You know what Andrew did? That is fucking typically him. And I love David Wood, so I hated to see him have this done to him. But he did David Wood made a really good, like, I want to say like argument, but let's just say like it wasn't coming from like a logical place. And Andrew Wilson goes, "Yeah, oh really? Where'd you get? What are you vibing that, David? Is that your vibe? Is that where you're getting that from? Are you vibing that?" And it really, like, if you broke it down, like, he kind of was just vibing it, but it was valid. You know what I mean? It was a valid vibe. Like, you know what I mean? It just made him not.
It's a good deflection for sure. And again, that's why Andrew is so good at what he does.
Right.
Because you have to throw punches, but you got to be able to slip them too. So anyway, all right, let's get into the Crowder Fuentes thing. Number one, I think both of them, I think, laid out their positions pretty well. And a lot of times when we comment on things, and again, we had that title a while ago that said "Surprise, Nick's a Democrat." And And I still stand by that a 1940s, 1960s Democrat. You know what I mean? And
We said it.
You know, he may argue with me one way or no, I'm conservative. Well, what are you trying to conserve? You know, again, you can make the argument if you want to that that you're a progressive right and you still want to tear it down, but you want to build it in the right direction. You can make that argument, I guess. But you know, they always say, hey, you know, you can't watch Nick at clips. You got to watch him full length and you got to hear his whole side of the story. And every time I've done that, I've actually found myself agreeing with Nick less. You know, so for all of you gripers out there that really want to sort of defend Nick's position, I understand it. But you're not doing yourselves any favors when you have somebody listen to the whole show. And I've done that, and I don't really care for it because to me, it just makes him look more sophomoric and foolish. And I find that his prescriptions for a lot of things don't fall under the auspices of a republic at all.
Yeah, and he looked a lot less gay on this interview.
Yeah, I noticed. I wonder if he slipped the Michael Scott thing for the sweatshirt just because of that. But you know, I haven't. Well, I'll get into it a little bit, but I haven't actually figured out what Nick's angle is because I'm the more and more I listen to them, the more and more I'm of the mind that he doesn't want to catch the car. He just likes chasing it. And it's sort of the go ahead.
Yeah, dude, again, I want to be wrong and maybe I am wrong, but I really do almost feel like Nick doesn't really, all Nick wants is to be controversial.
Yeah.
And to, you know, again, not to the Candace level.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I think Nick likes, and again, to the gripers or the gripers,
yeah,
whatever it's called. Okay. Like, I hope some of you see through that. Like, I do think he's playing you a little bit.
Yeah.
I do. I think he's flexing you guys a little bit because of your loyalty and your you know, and because you're smart people. But I mean, you know, and your online presence. But
that's the thing is I fully feel for the gripers. I understand your plight. Trust me, I get it. Everything that you have a complaint about is valid. Oh, well, I'd say about 90%. When you go into you know, the interlopers and Black's Gotta Go and all that kind of stuff, that's ridiculous. You know, my position is I'm not a racist, but I am an elitist. I do think I am individually better than other people, but it has nothing to do with their race. It's because I put in the work to get to my position to where I do think I'm on paper better than a lot of other people, but it has nothing to do with race.
Right, you could think you're better than me. You could think you're better than the Chinese guy down the block. It has nothing to do with the race. You know,
I'm nationally an elitist. I think my nation's better than everybody else's. I think Christianity is better than your religion. So I'm an elitist that way. I'm a nationalist, a Christian nationalist, if that's what you want to call it.
Yeah, I don't think you're that. Because I'm not that, but I get your point, and I think that's a good way to describe you. I truly believe that. I don't think you're cloaking racism, you know.
Right. Well, my interpretation of Christian nationalism is a nation built on Christianity, Christian values. That's how I look at it, and I think that's the best way to go. So I am going to say that I am a Christian nationalist in that definition, if that's how you see it. You know, yes, if you know. If I've done this much work and I've paid my dues, you know, I went to school, I married a woman, we had a child, we work a business, things are better, and I'm in a better position than the fucking psycho transgender woman living in the fucking woods next to me. I'm sorry, that's just how it is. And that is an actual story. Maybe we'll get into it sometime.
I was just gonna say, and he's not being hyperbolic.
No, there is a fucking transgender individual who's homeless, who lives in the woods, not too far that way. So, yes, I'm better than that individual. So, what is the chat there? I can't read it.
Nah, you don't even, because it's dumb. Again, you know, I'm not gonna say block them, and because I don't want to block anybody, but again, hurling insults that it brings nothing to, like, if it was like a good one or something that like I'd be like, oh shit, okay. I'd be like, oh, maybe we need to address this. But honestly, I'm telling you, it's not even the dumbest shit.
Now I can read.
But again, it's the dumbest shit ever. It's not even. Anyway,
all right. So anyway, so we'll get into the Crowder and Nick debate. So I don't have double chins. Anyway, it's ridiculous.
I know you don't. That's kind of my point. You know what I mean? It's like it's like it's the dumbest thing I've and I'm not even trying to be nice to you. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like it's absolutely ridiculous. And just to go after another man's looks without humor is beyond me. You know what I'm saying? Like, because he's trying to be insulting, right? So if you're trying to be insulting, you gotta kind of be a little creative, but if you're trying to be funny, I think that you gotta work a little harder. You know what I mean? Because I like the funny insults.
For sure. All right. So
like call him like a chubby Scott Storch. That would be funny.
That
not everybody.
I was gonna say, at least that would be accurate.
Because the glasses, I don't know, but I figured something.
Yeah, I was never into drugs that much. I'm not really good musically. I've never been on Rogan, and I've also never taken a fistful of cash from Dr. Dre. But other than that, I think you're pretty close. Ronnie Millsap, I'll go with that. I don't mind Ronnie Millsap.
I don't know.
Lost in the 50s tonight. What, are you kidding me? Yeah,
I'm sorry.
You uncultured swine. That is funny. I do give Ronnie Millsap quite a bit.
Anyway, says Scott Storch is my line. What do you mean? When did you say that? Truth Hurts. And what's up, Truth Hurts? Good to see you back. I didn't know he said that.
Yeah, it doesn't help that I'm actually wearing Scott Storch's sunglasses either.
That's true. And you don't have even half of his money.
Oh, I definitely do. He doesn't have any money at all right now.
Oh.
Yeah, he's hurting a little bit.
What about Jay? Not Please tickles those ivories like nobody's business. Am I right?
That's true. That is true.
Truth Hurts said it a few days ago. Oh my God! I promise you, Truth Hurts, I did not know that. I am so sorry because I've said it. I've said it before. All right, I'm going to let you take the line. I'll let you have that one. Good line. I like it, and that's why we love you. Go ahead.
All right. So so the interview starts out, the debate or whatever, with them both kind of steel manning each other's arguments, and I think they actually do a pretty good job. So let's take a look at that.
Let's start this way. How about I steel man your argument as I understand it, and you can let me know if I have a decent grasp or correct me.
Okay, sure.
Okay. So my view is you're issuing a political strategy, right? You are not a leftist. You are not a Democrat. But okay, Republicans have taken your vote for granted. They have not been held accountable. They haven't delivered on any of the promises that they've made. Americans are feeling this right now, particularly young Americans in this economy. They feel as though they're not represented and they're being sold out to big corporate interests, including, by the way, a foreign nation like Israel, placing that above the interests of American citizens. And so we need to speak the only language they understand, which is defeat, make it sting in the midterms, vote Democrat in 2026, so that it will pave the way or allow for a candidate who more effectively represents America first or a true version of their constituency.
Can we pause this?
Yeah.
Okay. So when I listen to that argument, I have again, holy shit, we are amazing. Put that in your comment on that. We are great because it really does. It says, like, as we've said from the beginning for months and months and months about Nick. Nick has a great plan. He has a great what's the word I'm looking for? View on what I can see and I can align with on a lot of it. Mm-hmm. The problem is it's so the one time he has a prescription, which is to vote Democrat.
Yeah.
That is not going to achieve the goal of what you just described. Am I wrong there? And if I am, push back.
Well, you're not, and of
because
course
that's the way I hear it, at least.
yeah, and they do go into sort of reason, and again, I can again surface level understand exactly what Nick is saying. Like he doesn't like the he's not getting everything that he wants, so he thinks that the only way to solve that is to destroy what we've already achieved or where we are right now, because I think he's sort of hoping for like a Donald Trump type figure to kind of come in and do this, say the same thing that Donald Trump said, but actually follow through like he did in 2016. You know, I think that Donald Trump, and I if anybody wants to argue with me, that's fine, was a black swan event. We'll probably never see a Donald Trump type figure for a lot of different reasons. Number one, the rhetoric, the fact that he could finance himself, the fact that he already had decades of name recognition. Like there was a lot of things that sort of went into the Donald Trump that came in 2016. And I understand that he wants to try to revive that by doing this method. I'm just
Pause
not,
real quick. You're 100% right as far as the biggest.
just tell me to pause.
Yeah.
The fuck is that?
Jen, pause him. Rex, the biggest thing you said there is name recognition.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and you look back from your old sitcoms from the early 90s when you see him in them and they're referencing to him being president. What about all the famous people that are against him now, 50, 40, 30 years later? 50, 40, 30, 20. We get it. Quarter. Jesus. Pick a year, faggot. And sorry, don't say that. Oh, great. There it goes. We're banned. Oh well. But oh well. But it's like, like this is a guy that has been almost like groomed for some sort of a power position, and there was a nice little opening. It was like like you said, black swan. Like it was a perfect timing type of thing. Everything kind of made sense. And then another thing I'm going to add real quick is that, somebody that would be similar to him in the future, the argument's going to be, oh, he's just another Donald Trump. So that person can't even kind of use that to his advantage, if that makes sense.
It makes perfect sense. And that's sort of the point that I think Nick either sort of glosses over, either consciously or subconsciously. I don't know yet, because he does sort of hide his intentions and his motives very close to the chest. He doesn't let you
which makes me very skeptical because of that.
Well, and that's the thing, like, the only way that Nick's plan works is if I hate using it because it's overused, is the only way that Nick's plan works is that if he can find a way to degrade our faith in our system so much, and in the degrade the values and everything down so much that he can sort of evoke, again, I'm going to say it, an Adolf Hitler kind of rise of an individual who can supersede the Democratic and Republicans, or the Republic. Of course, that's the issue. So I think that's his intent, is to, because he doesn't see another way of getting everything that he wants now.
Delusional. It's fucking delusional.
It is. And again,
even if I wanted it, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And that's why he says that, Hitler was so awesome. That he's not talking about what necessarily how he went about things. He's talking about the fact that he could step up and take power and do exactly what he wanted to. That's what he thinks is so awesome.
And it's amazing to me how people can't see that, though, like how clear that is to you and I, and you articulated it so well, rather than just say, oh, Nick loves Hitler and have no nuance to it, And again, people will say that. And unfortunately for Nick, there's other things that he says that would probably give them some validity. With that being said, I think what you're talking about and the way you articulated his view was very, very smart. And I think it was very accurate.
All right. So here's Nick Steele-Manning, Crowder's view.
Thanks for the heart, by the way, whoever gave it.
Well, I think that, you voted for Trump in 2024. I think you'll be voting Republican in 26 and 28. And I think you would probably say that the left is always going to be worse. The Democrats are always going to be worse. And so voting for something worse is always going to be bad. If we want Republicans to be better, we should maybe focus on primaries. And what's more, Republicans are holding back something far worse, which is always going to come from the Democrats. Things like open borders, not only no mass deportations, but also no borders, not only war with Iran, but maybe war with Russia, continuing the war in Ukraine. Basically, it only exacerbates our problems, doesn't actually solve them. Would be something like, I think your position is.
You can pause it there. You have anything to add to that?
You go first.
Nothing. I think that that Nick lays it out pretty well. I think that he's a little bit more disingenuous and
Can you play it back one more time, Jen? Is that possible?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, go ahead. I think that'll work.
No mass deportations, but also no borders, not only war with Iran, but maybe war with Russia, continuing the war in Ukraine. Basically, it only exacerbates our problems, doesn't actually solve them. Would be something like, I think your position is.
Okay, so he's saying that's what he thinks that
Crowder
even feels about Nick's point.
No, the reason that Crowder feels the way he does is that no matter how milquetoast or how little you think that the Republicans are doing, it's always going to be better than what the Democrats will do.
That's been kind of my point. Okay, I understand. Yeah, that's been kind of my point too. Is that foolish?
No, and again, I agree that, and this is the way that I can make it fully understand, at least as far as my own head, is like, say, for example, you went and you bought a piece of property that had a house on it, right? So the conservative view is that, they'll go in to look at the house and say, it's got a nice stair rail, it's got a good foundation, it's got this, that, and the other thing. There are a lot of good things to save about the house. And then you have another contractor come in and just say, there's nothing really here to save. So why don't we just level the whole thing? We'll put solar panels on it. We'll get better insulation, this, that, and the other thing. So say the owner, whatever, decides I want to try to restore that. And the guy says, okay, well, it'll probably take, 2 years to rebuild, just by looking at things. It's going to need some siding. It's going to need a foundation, fix things or whatever. He lists off the things that need to be done. He said, hey, it'll take about 4 years or 2 years, whatever. So, the guy decides to go with the conservative. Let's keep it. Let's restore the house. Let's make it great again, huh? Right? So they start into it, but then they start to, go into it, and it's going to take time, and they have to jack up the house, and then they realize that there's asbestos and there's lead pipes. They start finding other problems, and it's a slow procedure. Now, 2 years comes up, and the house is only 3/4 done. It's only, not completely done because they found other problems as they were going along.
Maybe throw in some inclement weather that was maybe that you wouldn't think that you didn't take into consideration in the beginning. Right? Would that be fair to your analogy?
Absolutely. There are some.
I want to make sure I'm understanding.
Yeah, unforeseen situations that you didn't see coming up. Now,
like weather.
Yeah,
I'm making a weather point.
Yeah, you can make a couple of choices here. You can either be like, you know what, I think this is not going to be worth it. We're already 2 years in. There's been a whole
the house looks okay. There's a lot, like a couple of the bathrooms are done, look pretty good.
Yep. And the fucking weather's terrible. I don't know if I mentioned that, but the weather's been awful.
Great point, Rex.
Thank you. So now the homeowner has a couple of options here. They could be like, you know what, let's just see this thing through and restore it to where it needs to be. Or we could go with the other guy, completely level the place and go under. So as a conservative contractor, you have to slowly push forward and complete the job, because by just admitting defeat and saying, well, no, the left went, you also diminish the confidence of anybody to ever want to do it again, because you made a promise. You did run into different things. There are issues that are coming up, but it is incumbent upon the conservative to see through the plan until you're done, no matter what you run into. You have to do that, because otherwise it just completely destroys your whole ability to ever convince anybody in the future. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I know exactly. And Paul in chat said, make Kamala, and then it says sober again.
I don't know if you'd really see a big difference, to be honest with you.
That's fair.
All right, so here's Nick's plan in 2026.
Okay, so flesh out the plan. I disagree. Vote Democrat in 2026. Why? And then walk me through the plan.
So, in 2024, I didn't vote Republican. I recused myself. I just told people not to vote. Everybody thinks I voted for Kamala, but I didn't. I just told people to withhold their vote. But in 2026, what really did it for me was the war in Iran. I think that, for me, that was the red line. We were promised no new wars. We got a war in Iran. And I really believe that if you vote for Republicans after that, it's almost like you'll tolerate anything, because that's such an explicit betrayal and on a very serious matter. And then what's more, to maybe get into the positive reason for voting Democrat as opposed to withholding your vote or not voting Republican, is I think that when you look at the House of Representatives in particular, and I'd say this on my show, they...
I think I find it, again, I find it interesting, and maybe I'm just trying to push my own narrative. Nick tries to find that sweet spot. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's able to keep that younger generation by staying away from being hawkish in any way. You know what I'm saying? But yet be conservative. And again, and it's actually a good position. It's not a bad position. But I think he's smart. You know what I mean? As far as, like, he knows that is going to be a good thing for him. You know what I mean? If he went all in with a full conservative viewpoint and was hawkish in any way, I don't think he would have the support that he does with the younger generation.
Well, I think that the support that Nick gets is because he sees that there's a problem and he assigns blame to something that's very surface level, the Jews, and he'll just say, no, it's just the government in Iran. No, it's the Jews. And again, this is a playbook that's been done for hundreds of, if not thousands of years. But like, I hate the term, the war in Iran was a red line because he promised no wars. But, like, are you saying that, like, okay, if Iran or whatever, we'll say Mexico, if Mexico, dropped a bomb in Texas, should we not go to war with them because we said no new wars? Or is your problem you just don't agree with the justification on this conflict? You know what I mean? Because
I think, no, it would be like us asking, it would be like if Mexico dropped a bomb on Texas and then we went to Israel and was like, hey, come, you got to come fight these guys. You know what I mean? And the Israeli people would be like, what the fuck? Like, what, why are we doing this? No, I understand it sucks, but, like, yeah, you guys are good. Like, Well,
again, my point is that, like, nobody believes that we should just never go to war. And now I can prove that, because if tomorrow Trump said, let's go to war with Israel, guess who would be right the fucking on board? It would be Nick.
You know what? I was almost going to say that I think you're not being fair with your analogy, but that analogy, I don't think you were being fair with your analogy, with your Mexico analogy, but I think you nailed it with that one. How's that?
And it's unfortunate because, again, like, there's just nobody who can just sit back and just be like base level. Nah, I can't do a war. I can't do it. Well, there's always going to be or at least there should be reasons why we should. You just don't agree with the reasoning. So again, if we were gonna, if we were gonna do that, he would be totally on board. So, what's that? What's the that one there? Amazing people waited for a red line. January 6th was just that. Okay. All right.
Does that mean?
I have no idea.
Exercise
we don't
oversight
understand what that means,
powers under the Constitution. And so they can depose, they can compel the release of documents, they can subpoena, form subcommittees. And I really believe that they, set against the Republicans, will actually work to slow down the administration. And it's not just that the administration is not doing things, they're doing things that are bad. They did try to bury the Epstein files. And if it wasn't for the Democrats and a handful of Republicans, they would have never seen the light of day. And then you have the War Powers Resolution in the Senate, which got shut down basically along party lines, with one exception, which was John Fetterman.
People, was that true? Was it because was it Trump's administration was holding the Epstein files back?
Again, I don't think that's the case. Number one,
But didn't they have the files for all the years that Biden was there?
they had them for all that time. They were releasing them as it is, and again, like even with the release that they've had since, we really haven't learned anything new. Like I think it's sort of just a cudgel of, well, they wanted to hold back they were holding back the fact that the manservant in Little St. James asked for cheese pizza. Okay, well, yeah, that's creepy and whatever, but like there's no context to that. We haven't really learned anything above and beyond what we already knew. So yeah, I don't think they were holding anything back, because again, we haven't learned anything that's been explosive. So, maybe they just didn't find it as relevant. And not only that, but like he sort of shifts on who he has a problem with. He puts a lot on Trump and the administration, Marco Rubio and Vance and the DOJ and things or whatever, because he's not getting the things that he wants. Now, I would argue that most of the things that he wants has to be routed through Congress. Like he gets on Trump for not building the border wall, and we'll get into that later. But like,
I think Trump's executive orders at least would align with what Nick wanted.
Right, because that's really all that the administration can do, and they go into it too. Like Nick's problem is not routed through the president. His problems are routed through Congress, but that's just not as tasty as attacking Trump. You know what I mean? You can't just be like, well, it's because we only have a slim majority in this, that, and the other thing that is the actual issue. So, all right, go ahead, and then we can pull up that comment.
I think you and I would both acknowledge, because you've said that voting Democrat is a way to punish Republicans. You're not going to get the change in the system with the Democrat Party. Do I have that right? This is about fundamentally changing the Republican Party through accountability.
Absolutely. Yes, totally.
Okay, good. Just because I don't want people to misconstrue what you just said. Like, so see, Democrats are actually good. Like, they have some bullshit that they throw in every now and then. What do you do after that? So in other words, you're saying this will lead us to a consistent or more representative victory, 2028. What's the roster? Where are the funds? What's the ground game, right? Because it's a big risk, handing the country over to the left. We know what they want to do.
Well, and see, this is where it gets interesting, and this is where we might disagree on some things. So the way that I see it, 2028 is really what it's all about. I really believe that this administration is just cooked. Like, I don't think there's going to be a course correction. I have no faith in this administration. I think Trump is old. The people around him are very bad. And so I think the real question is, and this is a huge question, who will be Trump's successor? Because that person is going to define the direction of the party. And I really believe there should be a very competitive primary for the presidential race in 28. And what they're trying to do is consolidate support around either Vance or Rubio. As I'm sure you know, behind the scenes, there's a very big fight going on between donors and between party personnel. Are they going to get behind Rubio, which he seems to have the backing of the neocons and Mark Levin and AIPAC and Miriam Adelson? Or are they going to get behind Vance, who has the support of Little Tech, Palantir Tucker, and he's going to clearly run in the more America First lane. At least nominally, he's going to claim that.
So I mean, my thought is that like I agree with Nick. There should be a very competitive primary because it'll probably end up being either Vance or Rubio anyway. But it's good to have that kind of a demonstration to show that we are indeed still a republic and we still do those kinds of things. You know,
I'll tell you right now, Trump will be thrown under the bus by Vance and Rubio at some point during the primary. You know what I mean?
It really kind of depends on how the next 2.5 years go. You know what I mean? Because if we end up,
you think you're gonna get somebody like a Nick Fuentes and these people to say they were wrong?
The thing is that it all kind of depends again how the next 2.5 years. Hey, what's up, Erwin? The next 2.5 years shake out. You know, if things start going in the right way, which it kind of is starting to see, like things are starting to turn into the right way with, you know, the sort of positive things that came out of China, the fact that, you know, the economy is looking a little bit better, jobs are coming in. You know, we have a couple of Supreme Court rulings that are coming up, I think in June, that may make a big difference as far as birthright citizenship and I forgot what the other one is, but there's a lot of things that are sort of coming up that could shake out in Trump's favor. So if the next couple of years come out well, I think that they're going to try to hold together what they can of the Trump alliance wherever they can. Obviously, if it goes bad, it doesn't really matter because it's going to go to, as I've said now for the third time, Wes Moore, because he is going to be the candidate for the Democrats.
Is that the one? Is that the secret candidate that Nick's talking about? You think?
No, this is a Democrat guy that I think is probably going to be the Democrat nomination. He's
before we hit play, Jen, can you bring up Tiny Lion Gaming?
Would you call me
Tiny Lion Gaming, real quick?
Right there.
Yeah, bring them up. All right, what does that one say, Rex? Something's blocking it. I can't see because
his stance on the Jew, and now he's just exposed.
He walked back his stance.
Oh, he walked back his stance on Jews, and now he's
and Nick, it's talking about Nick. Nick is fucking fake, is what they said.
Ooh, kitty.
Yeah, and we talked about that. You know what I mean? I just said that. I'm getting the feeling that Nick is being fake, and that he's kind of just he's leaning into his demo. You know, again, I'm not breaking fucking the internet with that statement, but my point is, I do think that this is a very, very planned tactic by Nick.
Well, I also think that Nick knows. Again, Nick's not stupid, and he knows that there's nothing about his positions that will ever hold 51% of the electorate. Never, ever, ever, ever. You're never going to find 51% of Americans that only want white people here. You're not going to find 51% Americans who, hate the Jews across the board. We're not going to find 51% of the Jew or 51% of the populace that are going to align with him. So I think he's doing exactly what he often accuses the Republicans of doing. He's playing to lose because there is no power in yes. It's just one of those things. He would rather sit.
What do you mean by that, though? No power in yes.
Like, say for example, say I'm your representative for your congressional district or whatever, and you want to build a plant to not like a ficus, but an actual warehouse or whatever. And then there's some issues of some environmental things and running power out to you. Like if I just told I'll get that done for you, I didn't really gain anything. But if I lead you with no, and say, nah, I can't really do that. And you're like, well, what if we did this? What if we offered you this? There's a lot.
Okay. Yeah. Negotiation. So you think Nick's playing that card?
Yeah, because I think that again, it's the dog that catches the car. Like he knows that there's no way in the world he'll ever be able to get what he wants outside of a dictator. Just won't happen. So he's going to enrage his base, give them a lot of fodder. It's a Candace playbook. It's the same thing, and Tucker's playing into it now too. Is just to feed and satiate at the same time your group of audience to always be mad, always needing something else, and you're like, we're getting close, we're almost there, we're going to do it. And then what's going to happen is that when because if you're playing the odds, more than likely, at least historically, the Republicans will lose in 2026, as far as the Senate and the House. Nick will claim that as a win because he's like, well, we did it, everybody. All the groypers, you all did your part. You didn't vote. You voted Democrat, and we got our things in. Then everything will go wrong, and then
it's a great fucking move. Fucking great chess move.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, if you
optics wise, that's I didn't think like optics wise, that's a fucking bonus for you. You hype up your crew. Look what we did.
Yep.
And
that can backfire. And Steven brings up the Georgia race in 2020, where Nick stepped in and said, withhold your votes. And Kelly Loeffler lost in the runoff to I think it was Ossoff who we ended up losing to. I don't remember, but and then that shifted the power in the Senate, and then we got 14 to 20 million illegal immigrants because of it. So we'll
again, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you can equate the two and blame that on Nick, but I see his point.
Well, basically what Crowder says, and again we'll get to it, but
it's the same. I know what you mean. It's basically the same ploy, though.
Yeah,
where it's look at our power, look what we did.
Right. All right, so go ahead and hit it.
That without a radical intervention, like a radically different approach, whether we get a Democrat or lesser of two evils Republican, like a continuity with what we have under Trump, I think that's a no-win proposition. Like if it's Gavin Newsom, J.D. Vance, or Marco Rubio, if those are our options, and let's say everybody else in the Democratic field, I don't see any of those candidates solving it, fixing it. To me, it's really just a question of how fast or how slow it's all going to come crumbling down. And so that's the only reason why I say if we degrade the two people in this administration, it's sort of like we know what we're going to get with them and we know it's not going to be radical enough. At least if we tear them down, it's a huge maybe, but then there's an opening that something radical may appear. And I've got some people in mind. I wouldn't say them, of course, because that game about who's going to run and who's going to throw their hat in the ring, and then my endorsement might hurt that person if they're characterized as the Groyper or Caesar or something.
I don't think so. I mean, we have examples of that right here. I mean, Ken Paxton, who you may or may not like, but like Brandon Herrera, who was on the show, he won his primary. We had him on the show. I knew him through the GunTube community, and he directly went up against AIPAC. They put out a hit on him, figuratively, to be clear to people watching. He fought them, and he's going to win. He's going to win his seat. He then won the primary. So, no, you could have an effect. I actually think it's a requirement, frankly, considering the risk. If we both acknowledge it, the risk is you say something radical could happen. With the answer you're giving me now, something radical will happen. It's the radical that we experienced from 2020 through 2024.
See, to me, Nick gave away the game there when he said, I can't endorse anybody because it'll actually hurt them. Well, if you're speaking for 51% of the population, which you're not, you're speaking for probably about 9 to 10% of the population being generous.
That's one being generous.
Yeah. Your endorsement should help, because if you generally think that your position is what most people want, then why would you not? Because even though you again, maybe you're I'm going to be generous here. Maybe your motives are pure. The way that you are provocative and overstating things and being racist in general, that you can't actually do anything politically because you've already pissed in the punch bowl.
Yeah, well, that's why I kind of, in some way, understand what Nick is saying in regards to that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know if he really feels that way, but might just be his excuse to not withhold, to continue to withhold information on who he would endorse. You know?
Yeah. Erwin says he can get a better candidate out of a claw machine. I bet you can't. I think you're fucking full of shit.
Wow. He's saying your claw machine skills suck, Erwin. How's that grab you?
Dude, he's going for the fucking Hello Kitty, and there's no fucking way he's going to get it. It's going to slip off, and you're going to fucking end up spending $45 on a fucking what do you call it? The spring thing that goes down the stairs. That thing,
Slinky. Or next thing you know, you're walking around with a Rubik's cube. You know what I mean? And you could write right in Rex's ass. How's that? Boom.
I bet Erwin couldn't fucking solve a Rubik's cube. I bet.
Why are you beating up Erwin? He's a smart.
How dare you?
It's true. It's fucking Jen's boyfriend.
Doesn't matter. I don't care.
Yeah, back off Erwin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your fucking puzzle skills suck, Erwin. How you like that?
Wow. Yeah. Meanwhile, him and your girl, you become a fucking puzzle cuck. I'm talking to you, Rex.
I don't know. We're playing Chutes and Ladders.
Thanks, Otis.
Dude, one of these days we're gonna have to talk about fucking board games. They all suck. All right, hit play.
Yeah, what I would push back on is I really think that you think you're overstating some of the wins. To me, I would just say it's too little too late. I mean, as far as like open borders, that's my favorite one because Trump ran in 2016 saying, we're going to build a border wall. And why a border wall? Because it cannot be torn down. You build a physical structure. Democrats can't undo that. If it's an executive order, like Remain in Mexico or some of those other architecture, they can, and they did. And so it was really Trump's failure to build a border wall. And he enforced it through executive orders, which is why Democrats were able to come in and say, oh, we're just going to undo all of that. And you might say, well, okay, Trump has another crack at it, and the border is secure now. It's like record low crossings. There's no apprehensions at the border. However, it seems that once again, he's given up on the wall. You know, you've got
That's incorrect,
coming
Nick.
up.
That's incorrect. Nick, he has built more of the wall in his first 6 months than all 4 years of Biden. And it's on track to be done in 2027. Let's call it 28. It's
How
just
much
not
walls
factually
he
true.
built?
You posed a good post. First of all, great line by Erwin. This is what I mean. Like, now he insulted you, and it was funny. He goes, the only thing I care about Rex is his cholesterol, and that's only because he's driving up the health insurance premiums.
That's reasonable.
That's funny. The other guy was just insulting you, and there was like no funny. It wasn't accurate. You know what I'm saying? Like, you probably do have high cholesterol, but that has nothing to do with your weight. It's just your poor eating.
I don't.
Chicken.
You know, I eat good.
Your chicken livers. All right, go ahead.
So, like, again, this is sort of like a false thing, and the border wall thing. Yeah, I understand. He wanted to build a border wall, but he also doesn't have a hammer and an excavator. I don't know if you know this. So he's got to get that through Congress. And I hate that. Well, you know, he could build a border wall, and then the Democrats can't tear that down. I hate to tell you, even if we do have a border wall, which I think is a good first step, the border wall is going to have gates all the way up and down it. So even if we build this massive border wall and it's got these gates and a bunch of people defending the gates, guess what? The Democrats can still open the fucking gates. So unless you make some kind of congressional move to really make, like, again, crossing the border illegally is a felony punishable up to 20 years or an immediate revocation, it doesn't matter. Even a non-penetrable wall or whatever that goes up and down still can be overdone by the next administration until something else actually legal happens.
Yeah, and I'm so surprised that, like, are there bills we can't pass a bill to, like, strengthen that law? I don't get that.
Well, and that's another thing that I've never understood. And as a matter of fact, and I think Crowder points it out, is the wall is funded and now supposedly being done by 2028 or whatever. But
again, well, if you believe what Crowder's saying, then Nick is 1,000% wrong. So I guess I have to do my research.
Well, the thing is like you were talking about the legal portion of, you know, making it a felony to cross the line. that would make sense. And then it goes into well, you're never going to get 60 votes in the Senate to actually pass a bill because it's not something you can
not with Nick's prescription.
Right. And I would say this is one thing I do agree with Nick is you need to get rid of the filibuster. You have to, because if the Republicans don't, the Democrats will, and then everything goes to shit. My thing is with eliminating the filibuster, can you, if you did that, and that basically means, for you don't know, that making it a simple majority in the Senate to pass a law.
You know what it means.
I'm not saying you. I'm just talking about Erwin, that fucking idiot. So,
wow.
Shut up, Rex.
If we were to do that, can we close the door behind us? Meaning, okay, say we get rid of the filibuster and we pass all of the stuff that we want to before November 2028. Can we close the door behind us? Meaning, if it only takes 51 votes to pass a bill in September of the last year, can we close the door and make it 60? You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean, but then that can come
What do you
back
have,
and
fucking
bite you.
ants in your pants? You're up and down fucking 6 and 7 times. What the hell are you doing?
And I'll be up one more time. I'm making myself a cup of coffee. My Lord. This is a well-oiled machine, my friend. What are you worried about? Yes. See, now you made me lose my train of thought. I'm sorry. Should we not have a cup of coffee on the show? You're banning everybody in chat. Hit the like, by the way, if you're in chat. If you haven't hit that like button, I'd like to see a couple of likes.
You're drinking fucking THC. You're over here smoking cigarettes. You're going upstairs. You're going to get coffee.
What the fuck is your problem?
Nothing. Wait until I get my fucking gen drops, because I'll be getting them soon.
Do it.
You know what? I don't like her fucking new brazen attitude.
She's on pain medications for her teeth, so we'll just blame
That's
that.
You know what? That's fair. She's a drug addict. I get it. Okay, good one.
All right. So what did everyone say? Oh God, you're just gonna have to fucking read it, because I can't read it when you have the assets up. So can you just read it and tell me what it says, woman?
So you build a wall from shoreline to shoreline, and all of a sudden, people forget how to use a boat.
That's true.
Yeah, that is.
Nick is a Fed. I agree. I don't think he's a Fed.
I was just say you do.
I don't think he's a Fed. I just think he has conversations with him.
Who's more of a Fed, Tucker or Nick?
Ooh. I think that Tucker's probably on the other side of the table than Nick.
Really? I think NorCal Algae says Nick is a Jew-loving twink boy. You know what? Not. You know what? You might not be. I'm not going to say you're wrong. Tucker has more conviction. Does he, though? I always would have thought he did, dude. I would have thought that he does have more conviction than Nick. But I'll tell you, it's fucking amazing to me how Tucker just continues to disappoint me. Tucker continues to disappoint me. So, Tucker could go fucking eat a dick. I don't know what to say about him anymore. I'm so annoyed.
Probably better chance that Nick would, but
oh, for sure.
And that's the thing that I still just find amazing is that all the you picture your average griper, which number one, you guys got to change your name. It's the queerest name you could possibly come up with. But you picture a hardworking guy, loves women, drinks, whatever, the big tough guy, and like your leader is this little fucking confirmed bachelor city boy who dresses in a suit and speaks fucking nonsense. Like I just I think maybe that you're what does that say? Tucker has his Yentl on Blu-ray. Wasn't it Yenta?
Yeah, no, it was Yentl.
No,
Yenta is like an annoying Jew. Look at this Yenta. But Yentl was that movie with Barbara Streisand. I'm so embarrassed that I knew that. NorCal Aggie.
That was Erwin, actually. But go ahead and shit on Erwin again. Why don't you do that?
I love Erwin. He's my favorite.
Please,
Him
why
and
you
I fucking
why you crediting other people with his brilliance?
we email back and forth fucking funny things about you.
Well, he probably emails the funny stuff. I can't
Your
imagine
ass.
you're actually bringing anything to the table.
Hi, this is a Copperhead Road podcast. I'm Erwin. This is Rex. That sounds terrible. Just so you know. What did Carl Old say? Larry is the least convincing transfer. I can't. I gotta pull this up. Let me look at my phone. Hold on,
I've ever seen.
Yeah. Okay. Larry is the least convincing transmission I've ever seen. What does that mean, Rex?
Who is Larry?
I don't know.
I don't know who Larry is.
Can you say what you're talking about, bro? Unless you wanted me, you wanted to just beat up your friend Larry because he's listening.
Yeah,
which is fine.
Least convincing transmission.
Yeah, I don't know what he means. Maybe it means Nick. Nick is a transgender.
Oh,
Larry Loomer.
Laura Loomer. Oh. And he's calling him Larry Loomer. Okay, how are we supposed to make that fucking connection?
Yeah, you just come here. You basically just put up like a comment. It was like purple red number 38. What? What are you talking about?
Again, you want to call Laura Loomer Larry? That's fine, but like you can't just come in and say Larry. Like we're gonna be able to fucking make that leap of he means Laura Loomer.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm going to take full credit for I'm fucking up the show with that one. Like, it's a perfect example of the comments that you shouldn't read. That's a prime example. Again, not that there was a bad comment. It made no sense, and you derailed the show, sir. I hope you're happy. Is all I'm saying. If you wanted to derail a fucking show today, and by the end of this month, 60,000 people between all of our platforms will probably listen to it. So you've done it. God bless you, my friend.
Incidentally, I did do a tally the other day, and dude, seriously, like in our first year, we had 1.3 million views. That is fucking unbelievable for a couple of fucking nobodies.
Yeah. Thank you. No, and it was funny that you did. I'll let everybody in on the little thing. Rex does. He texts me about. He texts me like, "Yo, look at this. It's like 1.3 million. Views. In less than a year or whatever." I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, I didn't, in my head, I'm like, oh, that's fucking great. But I knew he was busy. So I didn't want to I didn't text him back on it. And later I think he was like, why, nothing on the 1.3 million views? I'm like, no, it's good. I'm like, it's good. I'm very happy. But anyway, nobody else gave a shit. But that's okay.
All right.
Guys, what do you think about that? 1.3 million views. Is that not a unique? You should be happy for us in chat. No?
Erwin doesn't care about you. Just saying.
This year.
This last year, it's been, as I understand it, hundreds of feet, and they're going to be putting up digital security, right, because there's certain areas and terrain that are a little bit more complicated, but more than Biden in 4 years. And you're saying vote for those people for 4 years. So there is a difference building anything than nothing. And
I think that's a great point.
H-1Bs. Remember, you ran those billboards, right?
Yeah.
And you and I were on the same page. I don't know if you saw this. I was going hard at Elon Musk on X on H-1Bs and President Trump. And by the way, I got into an argument with Vivek in person. I suggested a 3-point plan. One of them was a 6-figure fee. So you put up bill. Have you told your audience about the unfathomable wins on H-1Bs?
Well, I believe they hit the cap for H-1Bs last year, did they not, in 2025?
So 26% reduction in issuances, and new overseas H-1Bs, meaning people who are not in this country, down 87%. They were up anywhere from 20 to 90% under Biden. The denial rate was like 1%, 2% on a really good day. 87% reduction on new overseas H-1Bs with a $100,000 fee. If you put up billboards and people are upset about that, and you and I are in the same camp, have you told your audience about that win? That's the biggest shift we've ever seen in H-1Bs. It's not even close.
Again, yeah, I just don't think that's really, when you say, well, they're building hundreds of feet of border wall, that's more than Biden. Well, there's a 26% reduction in H-1Bs. They hit the cap, I believe, 127,000 last year.
87%. Here's why.
So just to sort of clarify what they're talking about.
Shut up, Rex.
He keeps saying they hit the cap. Now he's talking about the people that are already in the country getting renewed. Now, Crowder is talking about new people coming in, and there has been a dramatic reduction of new people coming in. And Nick keep well, they hit the cap. Well, they hit the cap. Well, the as far as renewals in the country, that's a congressional thing. Trump can't do anything about that. He can only work the margins on people coming in as new applicants. So what Nick is complaining about is a congressional thing and then trying to paint it on Trump. And what Steve is saying is that Trump is doing stuff. It's down 87% with $100,000 tax on every new H-1B.
And I mean, one is true, one isn't true. I mean, so or like that. This is my point. It's like I don't know how people with an audience like Nick has, and Nick can make these statements, and then Crowder can immediately just debunk him. Like, or is it just a perspective of okay, he is, but it's not good enough.
Well, because if you're in Crowder's camp, if you're in this thing, you're technically only going to really hear or listen to things that confirm your own bias. And it's the same thing with Nick's group. You know, all they're going to hear is well, you know, they keep hitting the cap, and you don't really want to find out the truth, because it just satiates your need to be mad at the administration. So, you know, I think Nick is just obviously just playing on the fact that people are going to listen to him no matter what, because Nick knows. You know, again, that's the thing is Nick is a brilliant man. I'm never going to take that away from him. So he knows both arguments, but he's only going to amplify one because one only makes his point.
Yeah. I think in chat, Collard said, autistic sidetrack, but I'm an electrician and I love Copperhead wire. I think he meant to say I love Copperhead Road. Okay, well, that's fair. If you're an autistic and you get sidetracked, I give it to you. Not a problem. Go ahead.
Thanks for being an electrician. I had this fucking pain in the ass trying to hook up my new fucking compressor. Where the hell were you? The fucking the new pressure block comes in and the line in and the engine and the motor out. We're on two different fucking sides. Where the fuck were you when I needed you? You were nowhere.
You. Colonel Olds, what are you doing? We needed the Colonel. And he wasn't around for us.
I'm old because I do like myself an Oldsmobile Cutlass.
Okay.
Don't even dare hit a fucking. I hate you. I hate you with it. You know what? We're getting divorced as soon as we leave. All right.
Boom. And more like chicken calls. Am I right? Not everybody. Erwin, you're in.
You know why? And Nick, let's both pretend that we're smart enough.
Okay.
The president has broad powers over people coming into this country, right? New H-1Bs. And I see this a lot where he gets no credit for executive orders. But then when things get blocked and cut, they also blame Donald Trump and go, why didn't he get these cuts? Well, that's because of 100% of Democrats. And yes, some feckless Republicans. We should know them by name, the Thunes, the Murkowskis, the Collins of the world who should be voted out. But he has broad powers on who's coming in the country. He can slap 100,000 on that, and he did, 87% reduction. To deal with the bulk of H-1Bs, people who are extending them, that would require an act of Congress. So the most potent tool that he has as president, he enacted an 87% reduction in new people coming over. People should know that if they're going to say both sides are the same.
Oh, by the way, Colonel Olds,
I favor taking
an electrician question. Can you someday jump on the show with us and explain to me how a three-way switch works? How you can have a switch on two sides of the room and it turns on the same lamp, and you can also shut it off. I don't understand that. Anyway, talk about autistic. So yeah, that basically finished up, but we can kind of continue on with this one. Go ahead and hit play whenever you want.
The risk of getting something more radical than what we know, which is getting something that won't be anything.
Well, and I can understand that position if I believe the numbers that you throw. Here's the one thing that I do notice, and I don't think that you're a Democrat.
No,
I really don't. But you do consistently use Democrat talking points against the right, and you have this is not a primary issue, right? You've advocated that your followers either sit out or vote Democrat in 2020, 22, 24. And as a result, the big one, you know, and this is a big problem that I've had with your approach, not you as a human being. Georgia, right, that flipped the Senate with Kamala Harris as a tiebreaker. And precisely because if people had followed, I'm not saying that you're responsible, but if people had followed your prescription in Georgia, that would be the exact reason for 10 to 20 million illegal aliens coming over an open border wall. That would be the exact reason for stopping them. That would be the exact reason for a doubling in some instances of H-1Bs. And I don't think that those changes are mild. When you say 600,000, we both know that is a point that the left will use. It's not accurate. You do have to include self-deportations because there's an incentive for self-deportations, and more people are self-deporting. Next thing, I bet you'll say that Obama or Clinton deported more people. We did an entire segment on this because people on the right are saying that, and it's factually not true.
Well, I never encourage people to vote Democrat in 2022, 24. Only this is the first year I've told people to vote Democrat. All those other elections, I told people to sit out selectively or altogether. But the Georgia Senate runoff, which is, I think, what you're talking about, January 5, 2021, with Loeffler and Perdue, you know, this is, again, it's like Trump, I think we both agree, got cheated out of that election. Like, they stole the election. At the same time, Republicans controlled the state legislature in all the swing states: Arizona, Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania. Everywhere where that was being adjudicated, Republicans were in control, and they just refused to do anything. They refused to change the slate of electors. And at the same time that they were telling us we're not going to remedy the election, they were also begging us to vote to hold the line in the Senate. And here I am saying, wait a second, why don't we hold the line in the White House? You're worried about the Senate.
See, this is one of those things where Nick is muddying the waters, because he talks about all of the swing states that they had changed the election rules because of 2020 and COVID or whatever, so they could do mail-in rebates or mail-in rebates, mail-in votes. He says, well, they controlled all of the congressional parts where they were being adjudicated. Okay, well, even in that sentence right there, you're mentioning two different parts of governance. You're mentioning the Congress of the state, and adjudicating means the judiciary. So it doesn't matter if you hold the House if it's being adjudicated and they're getting thrown out. You know what I mean? So you
I do. Yeah. So even if all the bills are being,
they prefer William, just so you
know. If they were all being presented, it would just end up getting knocked down anyway. You're saying,
and they were. That's why they said that. Yeah. All of the cases that were brought before they were all thrown out. Yeah, because a lot of those people that were put into place were put in by Democrats. So can't do it both. All right, so here they're talking about the border wall.
Trump won in 2016 saying border wall, and you remember Republicans wouldn't give him more than $1.8 billion for that little fence in the Rio Grande Valley. And they said, no, we're going to focus on Obamacare and the tax cut. We'll do the border wall after the midterms, which they lost, and then they shrugged and said,
Nick, but now be accurate with your audience. Why wasn't the border wall built? Was it for the same reason that it was completely paused after the 2020 midterms? In other words, you say Republicans, do you mean Democrats? And so they said the perfect is the enemy of the good, and they got done what they could get done at that time. It would be like people in the future saying, he didn't do anything about H-1B visa extensions. Well, sure, because he can't. It'll be blocked 100% by Democrats, maybe 10 to 15, 20% Republicans, but he used the most potent tool at his disposal, right? So you put all this in the same basket, like Republicans didn't. No, they weren't able to. And in many cases, they weren't able to, especially because you told people to sit out. When you look at what they've been able to do, I don't think these are minute differences.
By the way, Footy, your dad hates you. He's in chat.
Okay. I'm so sorry.
Just letting you know.
Well,
that's the guy's name. It says your dad hates you. That people don't listen to the fake clown Fed Wentis.
So again, who's a bigger? Let's ask. Your dad hates you. Who's a bigger Fed, Tucker or Nick? I'd like to give me your feedback on that and hit the like button if you can, buddy.
What the hell? We'll throw Candace in there too. Why not?
Yeah. No, I don't think Candace is a Fed. I think she's bad.
That's exactly what a fucking Fed would say.
Candace, Footer, Tucker, or Nick.
The problem with you being a Fed is I don't think that you'd be really useful.
You ever hear of a useful idiot, Rex?
Yeah, I have. Are you applying that to yourself?
I was.
That's something.
Exactly what a useful idiot would say. Ha! I try to use like your point, make it worse myself. That's funny. Anyway.
All right, so here Nick talks about his 2020.
Here Nick talks is about. Would you forget how to speak? What's the matter with you?
I'm sorry. Is there a fucking echo in your room?
Go on.
But I do want to get into what the plan is. You're right. It's hope. We're hoping for a space to be opened up for a candidate to go in, and there isn't anything specific. I have a candidate in mind, and there's a ground game being built and things like that. I can't share that information. There's maybe a couple candidates that I'm looking at. But again, you know how it goes. Unless somebody's ready to announce, you can't really say, oh, so-and-so is going to run for office. And then especially because it's me, I can't be the harbinger of whoever the candidate will be.
Well, why?
But
Let's explore that, though, because we both agree, two-party system, you need voting blocks. You need coalition. So if there are that many people out there who share your view, shouldn't be a problem for you to endorse anyone. As a matter of fact, that's a net positive. So give us the name.
I can't do that one.
So I am going to agree with the mentally retarded Erwin Curtis here. And he says that both Democrats and Republicans don't really care about the wall. It's something for people to argue over. Yeah. I agree with you. Make sure you have your helmet on, because the fact of the matter is no matter what is in place, unless there's some kind of outside repercussion that's already been in place by legislation, it can be circumvented either by Gates or whatever. So even though he has a gigantic tongue, I do agree with Erwin here.
This is right. Okay. First net negative migration country, right, for over 30 years.
See, I dispute that. I don't think that's true.
Okay. Go ahead, dispute it.
I think to say that it's net negative migration, you have to count self-deportations. I've seen a lot of different, and I think those are being overcounted because they took this number from the community survey from the census, which is.
I think that this is a perfect example when two things can be right, be true at the same time. Yeah. You know what I mean? So again, it comes down to how much do you want? Like, you know what I mean? You're both parties, meaning Nick and Steven, are both so married to their ideology. You know what I mean? I think Nick more because Nick needs to be. You know what I mean? Because Nick's always bobbing and weaving. Where Crowder is very consistent, whether you agree or not. But again, this is what happens. You know what I mean? They're both going to take something, look at it, and then start. You have to start listing. Again, the who has the immigration problem in this specific situation? Has it been addressed enough to you? And if it has, well, then, I mean, if it hasn't, then you can easily go, well, yeah, this isn't enough. But if you're looking at just the general speaking, hey, has it gotten better? Crowder's right.
Right.
I said that terribly, by the way.
No, but you're right. I mean, they can, it's the, Crowder looks at it as no matter what benefits that we're gaining, doesn't really matter. It's still a step in the right direction. And Nick says, well, that's not good enough. We need to go harder. But his prescription is to stop it altogether, in hopes that it will become so bad, like I had said at the beginning of the show, where they can get somebody in who's going to lead more as a dictator and be more forceful. I think the general consensus across the board countrywide is we want to get rid of more, but it's a game of pushing where there's mush. You can't just go hard to the paint, because then you're going to develop a sentiment against your entire motion that is going to completely derail your whole thing. You know what I mean? Like, you know, especially, and they bring it up later. We're probably not going to get into it today, but
we may
talk about sanctuary cities. Like these are where the hot spots are of the major issues of illegal immigration. San Francisco, all the cities in California, Chicago.
Yeah. Oh, you broke up a little bit. Hit that like button, by the way, everybody. If you're just joining us or if you've been in chat and you haven't hit the like button, do me a favor and do that. Jen, if you can hear me, hit play and let's see what we got going here. We can play a little bit more.
Taken last year, and they basically, there were 65,000 households polled, and they basically said, well, there was a lack of response from like non-residents, non-citizens of the United States, and then they used that to extrapolate, well, what was the number? 1.5 million people left the country. And then later, by the way, that data got corrected. It was in CIS, Confederation for Immigration, something or other, Center for Immigration Studies. They actually corrected the number with the new 2026 data and said, no, actually, we vastly overestimated how many illegals.
87%
Again,
I don't really think just executive order, 2 genders. I don't really care downsizing the federal government by hundreds of thousands. I don't really care that housing prices and rent prices are at multi-year lows. Those things don't matter because it's not enough. When we know that the Democrats will obviously, and this is their plan. They didn't say they were going to make Puerto Rico a state and pack the court to 13 last time. They're saying that now. What they did say is that they were going to go a different direction on immigration, and we got, by our agreement, 10 to 20 million in 3.5 years. That is unsurvivable, and you're recommending that people take that risk based on then what else? Where do we go? So we vote Democrat, we take the risk, but we cut it.
This is exactly what Rex and I have been saying the entire time. It's like, and it's not even, it really isn't even like a lesser of two evils thing. You know what I mean? Or even a, oh, you know what? We at this point, guys, we need to just roll the dice and see what happens because it's better than what we have right now. Well, we already know what happens when we roll the dice. We already know when the dice lands. Okay, we understand what that what different means. We've already seen that, and it goes back to even more of our point that we spoke about, Rex, was that, you know, when we talked about the Democratic, the California stuff that's going on, like, it's just as mind-boggling to me when I see California in any way wanting to continue to vote Democrat. They've already seen, like, they've had the litmus test. They've seen what happens to their
off at the pass,
their state. You know, go ahead, Jen. I'm sorry. If you want to hit it, you can. My bad. No? All right. Anyway, what I was saying about when you're ready, you can. But what I was saying, like I said, about the we already have we've already gauged what we need to see and how the left is going to handle these type of situations and these type of issues. So how in the world do we even entertain it? Now, if Nick can have this rise of this third candidate that is viable and can actually have a shot without fucking up everything, then that's great, because that is a great answer. I just can't see that happening. We talked about earlier in the beginning of the show how, you know, that Trump was that black swan, as Rex said. You know, he's looking for that new Donald Trump, but the one that he creates and he thinks is in his head. And we talked about it earlier. That's not going to
settings. Go to the settings thing.
Yeah, no big deal. You're good. I hear you, buddy. Yep, you're good. We hear you, so you can mute it until you get your thing on. Bub. Yeah.
Your stream.
Anyway.
This.
Yeah, I hear you. Yep, Jen, we hear you. You guys got to mute up.
The board is the board on?
No.
Yo, you guys got to mute up, man.
What's going on?
But anyway, that's my big gripe with Nick. You know what I mean? Is that we've said it earlier and we said it before. His prescriptions. You know, he doesn't have the answer, and him not. You know what would help him actually, Rex? It would help him if somehow he was able to, let's say, come up with a plan to again, if he announced the guy that he's getting behind, If he did that, that's a different story. Then I can be like, all right, you know what? No problem. I can understand it. I can get why maybe this guy is the right thing, or I get the plan now, you know, and maybe I can get behind this guy too. I look into him. I think that he's the guy. Fine. I'm into that. Erwin saying, is Rex Wi-Fi messed up again? Stop spilling Jolt Cola all over here. The thing that made that line funny was Jolt. That's great.
It's the only thing that's funny about it.
Oh, wow. And I'll tell you, Rex is having problems with his audio, yet he's still able to take shots at Erwin. I love it. I fucking love it. But anyway, what I was basically, you know, Rex, I was just getting into is that, you know, you have to understand, dude, like the proof is in the pudding. People know how it plays out on the other side. And if Nick really had this magic third that can make a difference, he should be telling us about it right now. You know what I mean? He should, and then we can at least get behind it. You know, it wouldn't be this what's with all the fucking vagaries, Nick? I mean, really? Well, I don't want to say anything. You know what I mean? God forbid I say anything that may let everybody give you a little bit of validity and not being in a fucking panic. Yeah. But anyway, we lost the video feed, so no big deal. No big deal.
I gotta shut something down. We're on backup power now because it's a freaking lightning storm going on.
Oh shit! All right. Well, as long as you're safe, and then just when Jen gets a chance, and again we can hear you, just have her click on your audio thing and put you on the USB mic rather than the Nearstream mic, because I could hear you through the. You're not coming through your mic; you're coming through the room mic or whatever it would be. Anyway, but yeah. And by the way, everybody, do me a favor during this little technical glitch, which is no big deal. Hit that like button. We got about 7-8 people in here, and we got to hit that like button. It's very, very, very important. And just so you know, your even covering your mic is not going to work because we're picking you up from the Ustream. So if you just drop down to your even
through broadcast,
this one,
all the way up.
There you go.
There we go. Is that better?
I heard the change. Yep, perfect. I heard the change immediately. Yeah. So anyway, but what did they say in chat? Oh, no, that was all right. But yeah, do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Definitely hit the like. I mean, we've had up to maybe 16, 17 people, and I think we only have maybe 4 or 5 likes. That's unacceptable. Hit the fucking like button, you freaking retards. Can you say that? Can you say like button? I don't know. Rex, you're good, buddy. Are you not good? Can you hear me, Rex, or no?
I don't know. We're just gonna play the outro, dude, because I can't hear anything, and
I didn't know.
We're just gonna go.
Anyway, all right, everybody.
Tomorrow, okay.
We'll tomorrow. I apologize. A little bit of technical difficulties. Not the end of the world. So don't be frustrated, Rex-a-million. Not a big deal. You have a lightning storm. It happens to everybody. Erwin, thank you, buddy. Truth Hurts, thank you. American Patriot Man. Appreciate you. Yeah, everybody, great job in chat today. Great seeing you guys back. Make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and we'll be ready to rock and roll tomorrow. Thank you all. God bless you. And we'll see you again tomorrow. We'll definitely get back up and running. And if, as Rex always says, if you're listening on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Rumble, make sure you go subscribe to Rumble. Get the premium subscription. You get to see people like Crowder, Russell Brand, Rex's favorite doctor, as we all know. Go check him out. Yeah. Dr. Disrespect. Go check him out. Everybody loves him. And you Oh, and by the way, good night, everybody.
Knuckles all scarred from defending this land. For those we lost and lived, freedom's a promise signed in the dust. Out here it's whiskey, out here it's true.